anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And just like I said earlier this morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to News Talk, Sudbury News Talk, that is, on CKLU 96.7 FM. CKLU.ca, if you just go to that website and you just click on the Radio Player Canada app logo, and you can listen to us, just the player will load up. The Radio Player Canada player will open, and you can listen to us that way. Also, if you download that app, you can listen to us anywhere, any time on your favorite device. Thanks for listening to us on CKLU. Thanks for being with us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, youtube.com/Sudbury News, facebook.com/Sudbury News. It's a way to get the word out. It's great. Two great platforms. Coming soon, we'll be able to be sharing from our website as well, sudbury.news, which is a work in progress. If you check that out, you can see the work in progress. Some things may not even be fully complete yet. It's definitely 100% a work in progress. And you can see the progress by seeing some of the things that aren't quite complete yet. So good morning, Lynn. Good morning, Lynn. How you doing? Good to have you with us. It's usually Lise who's the first one to say good morning. And my eyes aren't the greatest, so apologize for that. Make sure to like the page and share the page if that's something that you know how to do. Also, like the video and share the video if that's possible as well. It's one way to get the word out. This is a community conversation that we're facilitating here based on local events and issues. We got right into it yesterday, little deep. We took a deep dive into the way that news is kind of going, the letting go of Lisa LaFlamme, and then previously all the things that led up to that with our kind of culture that we've been fostering here, the cancel type culture. One strike, two strikes, you're out, whatever it is. You get a couple strikes. And then I don't know how many strikes. I don't know who's deciding these things, who gets canceled, who doesn't, what's all involved with it. I just know that people are being canceled these days. And so we talked a lot about that yesterday and how news, the culture seems to be going and less conversation. So if we can at least keep the conversation going for a while where you get to kind of chime in, share your views as to, what's going on locally, and what better way or what better place to have a conversation than on local issues, right? Hey, good morning, Vanessa. Thanks for joining us. So hopefully you get the word out. More and more of us can be part of the conversation, part of this show, which is your show. Hard to do it on the radio. I guess if you're listening on your way to work or wherever you're heading, hard to, be part of the conversation. But at some point you could, see the videos played on YouTube or Facebook after the fact. You could also comment there, right? And be part of the conversation. We read the comments and we could also include them possibly in the next day's show as we get more and more organized here. And speaking of getting more and more organized, someone who's helping us getting as organized as possible and has been a huge factor to this show even getting off the ground is the guest today, or the co-host we have in the hot seat, and that's Billy. Good morning, Billy.
A shining example of how not to be.
What? No, that's actually not true. Billy,
organizational. I'm getting organized here.
Okay.
Putting all the stories up.
Oh, good. That's awesome. So we have, we're going to be covering the headlines today, the things that we've shared to our Sudbury News Facebook page, which we do. We grab, different stories from the various news organizations locally and try and filter out some of the more, larger stories around the world that you're going to hear other places and get your news or whatever. And try and get as many things that are going to affect us here in Sudbury Now, having said that, we have a lot of people who watch the show from afar, trying to stay connected, I would think, whether you're from Sudbury or you've lived in Sudbury a while, you're checking in. And so welcome to you. Thank you for being here with us. And hopefully we do kind of keep you informed as to what's going on and make sure you also can, know that you can comment and, give us suggestions, things like that, and even shout outs. So we appreciate that as well. So thank you very much. Okay. So let's get things started. We always kick things off with a little bit of weather. We'll be back. So weather today looks like we're at about 16 degrees. It's getting a little cooler, but wow, isn't that a comfortable temperature for sleeping? You can't get any better than that. Humidity currently 90%. And today it'll be sunny this morning, then a mix of sun and cloud with a 40% chance of showers in the afternoon, a risk of a thunderstorm also this afternoon. And if there's fog anywhere, it will be dissipating, as it usually does. And the wind will be coming from the southwest late this afternoon. The high today will be 27. The humidex will feel like 30. So it's going to be a hot one. Hot day today, 30 degrees, going to feel like UV index 7 or high. Now tonight, partly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. This evening, becoming clear overnight, risk of thunderstorm early this evening. Sounds like a same forecast as yesterday, but no thunderstorms yesterday or last night. But there's a chance. So they always have to put that in. Friday, mix of sun and cloud, 40% chance of showers in the afternoon with a risk of thunderstorm. My goodness. Keep getting these risks of thunderstorms, even though a few days before it's just basically mainly sunny was the forecast, but it'll be same type of wind, southwest 20 to 40 kilometers, and then high of 27, but a little hotter tomorrow with the humidex. It'll be 32 or feel like 32 anyways, a little hotter than today. So a couple hot days. You got your 40% chance of showers tomorrow, 40% chance of showers Saturday, and then our favorite forecast, the mix of sun and cloud all the way throughout the next week, with your highs in and around same temperature, 26 or so. And then with the humidex, it brings it up just under 30. So we got pretty hot week coming up. We've had a couple hot days, nothing overwhelming or anything, but it's hot. So a nice way to kind of cap off August. Here's a look at your satellite over northern Ontario, what it kind of looks like with the clouds, the way they're rolling in. There's your chance of thunder showers they're talking about, just over Thunder Bay at the moment, making their way here. We'll be back with headlines and Billy right after this. All right, so covering some of the stories happening here in Sudbury, keeping our eye on the news for the last day and evening and morning. Anything after our show leading up to this show, we're sharing on Sudbury News' Facebook page. And so I know Billy's been looking that over quite
I've been going through
fine-tooth comb.
Yeah. And I kind of, we do this thing where I pop up the list here kind of in the order that they are. Which is good. And I didn't put a lot of time into thinking of the lead story, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be between Cloud looks like a teddy bear. Yeah, that was a story CTV shared, and I just couldn't, normally I'm not going to share those types of things, where their viewers reach out to them. I looked at it quite a while. It does look like a teddy bear. It's,
I know. I'm going to, now that you said that, I got to show that right away. Just because, right? I just got to find it now. Here we go. So let's just show it full screen so everyone can get a look at that. Now, I had no problem seeing a teddy bear right off the bat. Like and he's even waving.
If you don't see a teddy bear, maybe get checked out.
Yeah. It's like those pictures that doctors show us when they're doing some kind of psychoanalyzation or whatever. And they say, what do you see in this picture?
Totally, yeah.
I see a teddy bear waving.
Well, clouds are great for that.
Aren't they? Like, that's pretty darn awesome, man. That's pretty cool. It's just, wow. Imagine if you didn't have a camera at that moment, or you didn't have your phone on you and you saw that. That's funny.
I would take a picture. But speaking of air, it's not really local, but I've seen these before on military vehicles, and I thought, why don't we have them? And that is airless tires.
Oh, yeah, that's right at the top. That's I shared that very recently.
It just seems like a no-brainer. Is there something I'm missing?
Normally, I wouldn't share a story like this because it's not really Sudbury-centric or whatever. It's not to do with Sudbury or anything, but I just thought this is interesting because airless tires. So I guess the engineering you can kind of see in the picture, it's similar to like a bicycle spokes you have.
They're puncture proof.
Mm-hmm.
And more environmentally friendly, apparently.
Well, yeah. Do they last longer? That's what I'd like to know. You know, but
I would say, I guess the one thing you can't do is maybe adjust. You know, with tires, you can fill them up to the max, or you can leave them a little bit soft. If you're in a city with a lot of potholes, you might leave them a little softer just to absorb some of the bumps. Maybe
they should bring the tire here to Sudbury to test it on our potholes and really see how it performs on streets with a lot of potholes. Because this would be the place to test that out, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure the technology is such that they could make an economically viable version that does have adjustment.
Yeah, well, they're going to be rolling them out. They say by 2024. That's not that far. That's like a year and a bit.
Yeah,
these are right around the corner. They're just a short drive away from being here.
That was the year that most dystopian movies I watched as a kid would, be.
2024?
2024 just sounds like such a Blade Runner number,
Futuristic.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be on our new electric vehicles.
So that's, maybe it's a benevolent, non-dystopian future.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. They're new, right? So people are going to be getting them, and then we're going to figure out the problems that they might have with them. But anyways, that's kind of neat, I thought. Wonder how they manage the buildup of ice and snow. That's what Craig says in the comments.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one. So I'm with you on that one. Again, that's what I thought of right away. How would they perform on our roads here? That's why the potholes, came to mind. And this is the same thing. We have a lot.
Ice and snow. I didn't think of that.
A lot of ice and snow here.
Because, you get ice and snow all in that undercarriage of the wheel.
Yeah.
I've had that before where it's like my car starts shaking going down the highway. It's like, what is wrong with my car? You have to go and kick something off the inside there.
Yeah. And Jerome agrees with us that it would be a really good place to test these cars would be Sudbury. All kinds of things. You got potholes and you have winter and summer. So yeah. So do they come in winter tires? You know what I mean? Do you have to have summer and winter with these? Anyways, interesting. Airless tires get their public test drive. Cool. Also, Vanessa's saying Tony Monte Leone is running for mayor.
Yeah, I saw that.
Huh.
That is great because he's got his finger on the pulse downtown. He's always, he's got skin in the game, as they say.
Was he how do I know that? How do I know him?
He owns
Not
that
Records on
Monte
Wheels.
Leone's
Oh, okay.
clothing store, the Coulson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I should have known that name, I guess.
Very big advocate for
Downtown?
downtown and keeping it working, operating.
So Julia is asking where else do we stream, because she'll be deleting Facebook soon, which I think a lot of people I know were doing the same thing recently. So anyways, yeah, YouTube live, soon to be on Sudbury.news on our website. That might be more a place that you might want to see it very soon. Currently, you can see it on YouTube live as well. You can listen to it, cklu.ca. So listen to it. You can watch it on youtube.com at youtube.com/Sudbury News. Go right there live. So yeah, good questions. And the reason why we're talking about, I guess, Tony running for mayor is because here's a letter, an opinion letter about, I think, who I think is the forerunner. And you're welcome, Julia. So I think who's the forerunner in this mayoral race is Paul LaFive.
Yeah.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
And
lots of experience. He's been around.
He's federal, now wants to dip his toes in municipal politics. Mayoral candidate Paul LaFave says, of late, we've experienced division rather than unity of purpose. It's time our ambition, civic pride, and engagement matched our opportunity to create a brighter future for all. So it's time to celebrate weird, wonderful Sudbury. You know what?
I like the positivity.
Yeah, and I really like the idea. It's time to celebrate weird and wonderful Sudbury. Anyways, maybe we can come back to that once we go through, because I think we also have a Brian Bigger story today too. So we can put those kind of together. Got time.
The Brian Bigger, do you have that on deck there? I don't.
It's down somewhere. Might have even been from yesterday. I have no idea. I can find it.
Oh, here it is.
He was at the conference there.
Yeah. Strong mayor's powers likely irrelevant in Sudbury. Is that the one?
Yeah. Go right there now then.
Is that because there's already some housing going in here?
Yeah.
Housing projects in the works?
Yeah, I don't know. Many of this year's state of mayoral candidates also weighed in on the proposed legislation. Now, this legislation, just to let everyone know, if you haven't been watching, the province is proposing to give mayors more power in municipalities, more than they have currently. So they want to, you know how, someone elects a mayor and they expect change, but yet they only have one vote, so they can only do so much. So they have to be really good leaders, good communicators, good at mobilizing the council and mobilizing their influencers and the bureaucracy and all of these things, and be a really good leader. And they only have one vote at the end of the day. Well, they want to change that. They want to give them more veto power to be able to just, you know what? I don't like that idea. We're going forward with my idea, and it gets done. Now, the main reason the province is saying they want this to be done is because we have a housing problem, and we need housing to be built in municipalities to help solve the housing issues. And so if they give the mayors more power, then the mayors can just, if the province wants something done, the mayor can just say, yeah, the province wants this done, it's done, rather than go through all of the, I don't know what you would say, red tape, or just people's opinions and council, the way that it's been done for years. So I guess they had their big conference recently, or just recently, and they haven't been able to have it because of, the pandemic. So this is the first time they're getting together in person and discussing issues to do with the municipalities. And this was a huge one, that the province wants to give mayors more power. And I think Jerome is saying the World Economic Forum has planned this ahead of time. So I'll give you that. Now, I haven't looked into that myself, so now I will, now that you mentioned that. And I know they have influencers, right? Like they have the Young Leaders program. The World Economic Forum is this think tank, this organization headed by a man by the name of Klaus Schwab, which you're probably hearing his name, recently. He wrote a book called COVID-19, The Great Reset. The Great Reset, they're going to reset everything, our economic governance, everything that we have in the world that we're used to. They want to reset it, like when you reboot your computer, but they want it to reboot up with a new software, with a new program, one that we're not familiar with and haven't done yet. And so they have this plan where they have this young leaders program, which many of our leaders, including our own prime minister, have gone through, and they have an ideology of how they'd like the world to shape up and do things. And so our prime minister and over half of his cabinet, apparently, according to Klaus Schwab, has gone through the program as well. And according to Klaus Schwab, he said, quote unquote, we've infiltrated the Canadian government with our people. That's quoted from him. And so he also says that along with these young leaders, they also have municipal leaders as well in place in many cities to influence people towards, their ideology and things. And so that's I guess where Jerome's coming from. This is part of that. If they have an idea, they don't have to worry about it getting voted in through councils and things. If the mayor has more power, they can just and the mayor's on their side. If the mayor's not on their side, then it would be counterproductive for them. But if the mayor is, it would go through a lot easier. So that's overreach. Yes, they have infiltrated all forms of government. Yes, that is correct. That's Pierrette. Thank you for that comment. So yeah, all that to say that Brian Bigger, he's not a fan of this, apparently.
All right.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it'd be interesting to see if the other candidates, that'd be a question to ask them now, right? Like the ones running for mayor for this election. Like, are you on board with the new proposed legislation, or are you against it, kind of thing? Like, would you like, this proposal of the mayors having more of a say, more power in your community, or are you happy the way, it is currently set up?
Yeah, I could still see it being a positive thing. Mm-hmm. And again, it all depends on, what level this, apparent infiltration is at. There's again, that sort of out of balance thing where, a lot of people, we've been down this road, where we vote for a mayor who's got an objective to do the things for the voters that they said they're going to try to do. But, it doesn't happen because a lot of people are kind of locked into their, piece of the pie, maybe you might say.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Usually, I think you're supposed to come to represent the people that voted you there. Isn't that kind of like the idea of the way any kind of politics is supposed to work, whether it's municipal, provincial, or federal? Yeah.
But I mean, there's a certain reality to politics, and I've heard a pretty good presentation that every situation is kind of close to an oligarchy, mm-hmm. where there's like a center sort of figurehead. There's, surrounding that person, there's a lot of very influential, powerful people with their particular interests or, agendas, and it's almost like an archetype that I think exists, like even when you break it right down, it's never quite as, organic, as we might assume, that it's just like a very, you're always going to have certain levels of this, and I think it's kind of true. If like, one of our friends becomes, a mayor or something, you think, oh, hey, this is good for us, right?
Yeah. Like we're going to talk to him around the campfire or around dinner or whatever, and we can influence him, hey, Jimmy, why don't we do this? Like, hey, wouldn't that be a great idea? And he goes, you know what? That's a great idea.
That's right. Remember that time I saved your dog from that burning building?
Yeah. You owe me one, Billy or Jimmy, whoever you are. Anyways. Yeah. So that's the way it kind of works. So you're supposed to be able to represent your constituents. And we know how this works sometimes, but how do you represent all of them? There's certain ones who have more influence than others of all your constituents that you represent, right? The ones that you meet with on a regular basis at the club, at the wherever you go, your circles, you have your close ones, you have then your secondary networking, and then, and so on and so forth. And then you have, active or activist type groups that are that have causes that are, the squeaky wheels that you're like, okay, already, let's, okay, we got to deal with this. So, but now the mayor, Nancy says she doesn't believe our current mayor does very much. But, and I think a lot of people do share that view. But this again would force someone like that, or someone who you feel like that. Oh, they call him the groundhog. Yeah, I think there's similar world leaders that have the same type of stigmatization on them, that they don't come out very much from the basement. But but this would force maybe a mayor like that, who doesn't really, you don't hear much from, or you don't really know what their views are, to actually step up to the plate, because they got to make a decision, because they got more power. So you'll definitely know, they have to make decisions now, and they are going to have more of an impact, I think, is one side to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping Ward 5 votes for a change too. That's Julia. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Where did we end up here?
Well, we kind of fast tracked ahead. So we'll go back to, Ukraine, the Ukrainian center in Sudbury. They're holding their Ukrainian Garlic Food Fest August 28th from 11 to 3. And the event will include entertainment and garlic vendors with a variety of food items.
I'm guessing that's that place downtown, right across from the city center.
Yeah, the Ukrainian
church.
church.
It's called now. Yeah.
Yeah. Their dome there, right on the corner, right across from the mall. I love Ukrainian food. Yeah. Love it. All right. So I'm hungry already. I can't believe this. I'm doing this intermittent fasting thing where you fast for, quite a bit of time.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Anyways, and I haven't really been hungry. I've been getting used to the feeling of being hungry and being okay with it, knowing it's healthier and I'm losing weight and all this stuff. But yeah, just this morning and just seeing them preparing food, I could just go for something like that right now.
Okay.
All right. Couple comments here before we move on. Okay. So Jerome is saying that even though it's the great idea that they're supposed to represent people who voted them in, a lot of times they actually don't. They don't represent those who vote for them.
Yeah.
Which I think that's why a lot of us
That's the main criticism right now, right?
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people are feeling, and that's why a lot of people don't even vote. They're like, it doesn't matter anyways. They don't really represent me, blah, blah, blah. So I think a lot of people share that sentiment. Cambrian College is still accepting applications. So if you want to get in there and get a diploma.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, was it the PSW program that's got free? I think they might have like free tuition or something. Yeah,
no, I know it's already been going on. So we might have, if you're interested in that, you might have missed that boat of the PSW, the free program, but you still can go on. I would just encourage anyone to go on Cambrian's website and look at what they got, because if that is going to be offered again, that's where you're going to see it. The PSW program.
Yeah, I assumed it would be starting up this fall, but
that's what I mean, right? So
I assumed wrong before.
I think it went over the summer, but I could be wrong. But again, I would just check in with Cambrian's website on that one.
You just tell them Billy said.
Just say, Billy told me I can come here for a free course. So, okay. So Julia's saying, or they represent the demographic, a certain demographic of age. So you need to get out and vote. Or a certain demographic, the one that votes, actually, they represent. So that's just previous story we're just talking about, right? On how everything works, how our world politically functions, and it's going through changes right now. As you can see, big changes apparently are on the horizon, good, bad, or ugly.
Getting an education.
Yeah, good to get an education for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Well,
as
we're
prepared.
getting an education in politics. But yes.
Oh, I see
what you're saying is true too.
Yeah. or getting educated in politics, and you can go get your education at Cambrian College. They're still taking applications. This is an interesting one here. Man damages OPP cruiser while fleeing police on Highway 17.
Sounds like he's in big trouble now.
I would definitely think so. Definitely don't damage a police vehicle when you're
When you're fleeing, please,
when you're fleeing from them, don't damage their vehicle.
Take extra care.
That's right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, do you know anything else about this story, Billy? Have you opened it? Have you looked at it at all?
No, I just got a mental image, and I figured that's probably
that's right.
pretty close to the truth.
We could just assume what happened here. Anyways, I do want to unpack this a bit. I just want to check it out, see what the heck's going on. So this fella, all set for his sentencing hearing this week at the Sudbury Courthouse, attended live via Zoom from Maplehurst Correctional Complex in Milton.
Is that true? He had been in custody for 515 days?
Yeah, so this particular person, 51 years of age of Cambridge, who was facing 18 Greater Sudbury area charges, as well as charges in Espanola and Kitchener-Waterloo, and had been in custody for 515 days. Yes, you're correct on that one. Was present for what was expected to be a contested sentencing. The Crown of Greater Sudbury was ready to go, as was defense lawyer Dennis Mitchell. Unfortunately, court documents known as information that, is it Michelle? Or, yeah, Dennis Michelle, right? The Crown?
I'm not seeing that.
Had sought to have transferred to Sudbury from Kitchener-Waterloo, so resolution for all of his charges could be worked out, never arrived.
So I guess he did something before he was fleeing the police.
Yeah, he must have done all kinds of stuff.
Here we go. Yes, a dozen charges laid in the area spring of 2017 that include 2 counts of theft over $5,000, 3 counts of driving while disqualified, possession of stolen property, and mischief over $5,000.
Okay. Well, apparently he also damaged an OPP vehicle when he was being pursued. So, ouch. Yeah. Doesn't look like he's going to be getting out anytime soon. All right. We tried covering that. I don't know. We did our best. Sorry, guys. Yeah. We did our best.
Sorry, I kept thinking about Smokey and the Bandit during the whole time there.
All right. This is one for Billy. So, Beaver Lake residents worry about the future of their fire station.
It's my old hometown.
That's right. Which I do know somebody who is a volunteer firefighter there. I just found that out a couple days ago. And so,
what are the odds? Because there's not a lot of them there.
So lack of volunteers and lack of response from the city of Greater Sudbury is the reason for that. So a group of Beaver Lake residents on the western fringes, you're from the western fringes of Greater Sudbury, Billy, are growing concerned about the future of fire coverage in their area. For one thing, there's a lack of volunteers willing to join the volunteer fire service, leaving Beaver Lake without constant coverage. Currently, they rely on response from the fire hall in Whitefish.
I wonder what the compensation is these days for a volunteer firefighter. I think that's part of the equation. Yeah,
they are compensated. I know my brother-in-law was for many, many years live, probably this one, in Whitefish, because he's from Lively, right? Lives in Lively. So a representative of the Beaver Lake Fire Services said they met with city officials, including the GM of Community Safety and the Deputy Fire Chief in February. And they told the Sudbury Star, it's our fire hall we're defending. We want to keep it there or here. And we're amalgamating with Whitefish, but there's a lot of distance to be looked after. A lot of distance to be looked after by that haul. There's
Right.
300 miles
That is.
in there, and we only have a little fire hall to look after us.
15 kilometers apart.
Yep. A lot of Finnish names here I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Finnish people in that area, including my in-laws. Yeah.
Have you heard the joke, what's green and flies over Beaver Lake?
What's green and flies over Beaver Lake? No.
It's Peter Pannanen.
Oh, no. Peter Pannanen. Oh, no. Oh, that's a good one.
Classic back of the bus on the way to school.
Everyone knows for the truck to come from Long Lake, Lively, Coppercliff, Black Lake Road, it's only going to be ground control. There won't be any building saved. The building will be down before the trucks respond. We're at an average of 22 to 35 minutes to respond. If you read between the lines, it's a very negative outlook. So yeah, I wonder
That
what's going to happen to the Beaver Lake station here.
Yeah. I thought I saw another number in here earlier that how many houses burned down in the last 5 years?
Oh, really?
Did you see something like that? Because it was a big number, and I don't want to guess because it was.
Do you mean in that jurisdiction?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, if you take 30 minutes to get to a fire, I mean, the fire's already done its thing by then, right? Like it's doing its thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I'm going to find it in time.
Yeah. But we're always cutting services. That's the thing with amalgamation. Everything gets centralized, and the outer areas get less and less attention because they're looked at as they don't have as much, there's not as many people, services aren't used as much. So they use the funds and they allocate it to where it's most needed. And that's always at the center. So it always goes to Sudbury, and these outlining communities get less and less representation. It's a huge issue. And I think it's going to be a huge issue in this election coming up with the candidates and the mayors. How are we going to service our outlining areas post amalgamation? We can put the greater back in Greater Sudbury.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make Sudbury greater again. Maybe the quote. Maybe
I
the
remember that was kind
campaign
of
slogan.
the worry, the complaint when that was all taking place.
It was.
And, sometimes it takes a little time to prove the situation is
For sure.
what you're saying, but I think there's some evidence of that now for sure.
One thing that, talking about getting services and talking about even just in our local area, Northern Ontario a lot of times is overlooked, right? Because Southern Ontario making all the decisions. There's millions and millions of people down there. There's only 500,000 up here. So we constantly get overlooked. And so one of the things that we didn't have was a passport office. And so it looks like Sault Ste. Marie is among 4 cities with a new passport pickup location. So I don't know all the skinny on that, but Sault Ste. Marie is among 4 Canadian cities that now have a passport pickup location. Service Canada announced. Now that story is on CBC Sudbury. If you want to know more about that, if you are looking at getting your passport, I've heard horror stories that people have been waiting so long to get their passports. It's incredible. They got to drive down to Southern Ontario, go to an office down there.
Yeah. Is it really that like an issue of security that you have to drive to one of these passport offices? They can't
Mail them or
can't
do
have
it online.
just one of the post offices up here in Sudbury be designated for such a thing?
Yeah, I know. It's a thing for sure. So yeah, and if you're trying to get your passport, all the hoops you have to jump through. So people who apply for a passport in Sault Ste. Marie can expect 10-day service according to Service Canada. Whoa, that's quick. So news release, they released Trois-Rivières, Charlottetown, Red Deer, are the other cities that are going to get this service. Service Canada is working tirelessly to identify and implement solutions that not only improve the speedy delivery of passports, but also improve the service experience for Canadians. We'll continue to make our services more accessible.
That is good news.
Service Canada said the average wait times for passport services went from 108 minutes in April to 27 minutes last week. They have this triage system they introduced this summer.
It's improving, I guess.
In 17 of their 35 passport offices. Sault Ste. Marie MP Terry Sheehan said she was extremely pleased, quote unquote. Oh, he said. She said. Sorry about that. His city was one of the 4 locations to get the passport pickup location. Sheehan said staff in the City Service Canada Centre. Sheehan and staff at the city's Service Canada Centre will be able to review people's passport applications before they're sent out. Okay, so you still have to send them out, but you have someone to review them, so it speeds up the process. There you go.
Guess there's a lot of errors when you make those applications.
Yeah, I guess so. And if there is an error,
that's right. The back and forth for God knows how long.
Yeah, exactly. So people have been booking flights that they don't have. They don't need to jump the queue. People have been booking flights that they don't need to jump the queue. So Julia's saying she read today that there are currently 340,000 applications pending. Ouch. It's a lot of applications. And I think there's a backlog, right? Because of the pandemic and people weren't traveling. And then now is things opening up? Are they not? What are the stipulations? Blah, blah, blah. Some confusion with that. So then Jerome saying Northern Ontario has been raped by the South. And in a sense, the implications of the Mining Act, that's true, and the Indian Act both need to be amended. Yeah, definitely. Southern Ontario, basically, they're just feeding off all of the money that comes from Northern Ontario, similar to Alberta with the oil sands. And they have, Alberta is one province, basically. They all share in the oil, but what happens in Ontario is different. All of our natural resources in Northern Ontario don't stay, the money from that, we don't benefit from it. It doesn't stay up here like in Alberta where they have low taxes and they have all kinds of benefits from their natural resources. We don't experience that here. It all goes to Bay Street in Toronto, and we have pothole infested roads and all kinds of things that we're fighting for up here. We don't get. We pay 13% tax, highest taxed people. I don't know, one of the highest in the world. By the time you get your paycheck and
add all the other taxes, the income tax and
gas tax,
all those,
you name it, tax. The Beatles said it good with their song, The Tax Man. They're just going to tax everything. The air you breathe, the water you drink. It's interesting. But anyways, no, we didn't have to have it that way with all of our natural resources up here. Okay. Apparently having a booked flight pushes the passport applications to the urgent pile.
Oh, okay.
So people are booking flights they don't need. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's what you're saying. Yeah. So they're just booking flights to get their passport pushed along quicker. Wow.
That's working the system.
Crazy that we have to be like that. Anyways.
Yeah. So I guess kind of related to your last little blurb is Magnum Mining looks to revive former Sudbury nickel copper mine.
Yeah. Speaking of all the money that's under our feet up here in natural resources, and because it's going to be even more of a commodity in the world due to the electric vehicle push that we have recently, our resources are going to be way more in demand than they've ever been before. And so here you have a company coming in and reopening an old mine that was closed down, buying it, and it's now profitable now that we have the new, that
The numbers crunch better this time around.
they're forecasting because of what's going on, the need for all of these materials. Mainly, this is a copper and nickel mine, much needed for batteries. And so they're forecasting that it's worthwhile opening this old mine, that they're going to make a profit from it. So, and we're going to see a lot more of this going on in this location here. We're going to see a lot of dollars pouring in. And again, will we see, other than jobs? Now, this is the thing they've been telling us all these years. Well, we give jobs. So that's what we give back to the community. We make employment. So I think we bought that for many, many, many years. And I think if you really look at the numbers, I think it's maybe time to look at it a little bit differently and look at Alberta's model possibly of the way they benefit. So companies like this moving in, you go, okay, well, yeah, for sure. Okay, we have a little bit of a system where some of the money stays here that you're making, in our community, the very place you're taking these minerals from and metals from. That just makes sense. But who's going to put their lives on the line to take that type of a stand is what I would like to know. Yeah. So nickel prices definitely are going to keep going up and up and up.
Yeah. Anyway, it looks like a deal worth $16 million.
Oh, it's not that much.
So
that's chump change in this industry.
Yeah. Doesn't Valet make that in about
10 minutes?
8 seconds?
Probably. Yeah. A lot of money in the mining industry for sure. A couple of feel-good stories here from CBC. So there's a program they have for kids, free backpacks for the 5th year. So if that's something that you have a child that, that could benefit and things are tight, money's tight these days, I would definitely go to CBC or go on our Facebook page, Sudbury News Facebook page, and click on that story, read about it, and find out all the details where you can get a backpack for your child.
Is there stuff in it?
Yeah, there's stuff in it. From the picture anyways. Looks like there's stuff in it. Yeah. Organization takes the weight off some Sudbury parents by providing back to school supplies and backpacks for students.
Right. School supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Supplies for dental hygiene.
Nice.
Toothbrushes, toothpaste.
Cool. I'm sure a lot of people could use that. And on that note, CBC also has an article. The Sudbury parents seeing daycare relief as city opts for provincial plan early. So that's that's that $10 a day childcare program. So about 2/3 of childcare centers in Sudbury have signed on to the $10 a day childcare program.
Say that again.
So the province, in order to help parents with children, small children who need daycare, came out with a program where it's only $10 a day instead of whatever.
Right.
It would have
signing on
before.
early.
Yeah, I guess it was supposed to roll out later or something, but all the details. CBC. So there's still a few weeks left before daycare operators have to decide if they want to opt into Ontario's new $10 a day childcare program. But hundreds of families in Sudbury have already seen saving on fees. In March, Ontario signed on to the federal government's, I said the province, but I guess the province signed on to the federal's National Child Care Program or plan, the last province to do so. By April, parents with children at the Walden Daycare already had their fees cut by 25%. The deal commits the federal government to providing $10.2 billion to Ontario over a 5-year period to bring the average of cost of childcare spot down to $10 a day in 2025, according to the federal and provincial officials. The agreement also includes a plan to create 86,000 new childcare spaces in Ontario by 2026, with a priority on not-for-profit operators. So yeah, again, parents know all about this stuff. My children are a little bit older, so kind of this isn't something that I'm up on, but I know any parent with any, that has to go to, have children of that age that are going to take them to childcare pretty much already know, probably could come on the show and tell us all about it.
That would be a good idea. I think Quebec had that first, right? Is that something similar? I remember having relatives there that said that something similar like that for years. Did you say Ontario's the last province to adopt this?
We were the last province out of all the provinces of Canada to adopt it, yes. Probably because we're progressive conservative. I have no idea. And liberals, and there's all the political stuff, I would think. It's not a conservative thing to have a lot of subsidization. It's not a conservative ideology, if you will. It's more like be self-reliant, teach a man to fish rather than give him a fish. It's that whole thing. So I can see maybe politically Ford had to for the optics, kind of hold out for a while and say, well, yeah, this isn't something we normally do. But I guess that's what I would guess would be the reason why we were the last. Not that there's not other provinces that have conservative premiers or leaders, but that would be my guess. So Sudbury.com, they have their stories to start your day. And let's just talk about the Brian Bigger one here before we close out. We got about 5 minutes. So that's good enough. No?
Brian Bigger one, yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about the province wanting to give the mayors more. And I know Jerome made a comment about the amount of money, which I think is kind of interesting. The ore is so rich in Coppercliff that an 8-yard bucket pays the wage of a miner's day. So,
say that again. I'm really.
1 bucket pays the miner's wage for a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the province wants to give the mayors more powers. Brian Bigger basically was at the conference, and so the province's proposed allotment of additional power to Ontario mayors is receiving a lukewarm reception in Greater Sudbury, with Mayor Brian Bigger questioning its relevance. Quote, I'm not sure what they're thinking, how deeply they thought about it, and we'll leave it at that. Oh, man of many words.
Yeah, well, he's got to choose them very carefully, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we'll leave it at that. He told Sudbury.com by phone from Ottawa this week, where he was advocating for various local needs with provincial officials at an Association of Ontario Municipalities convention. Questioning, isn't this a democracy? He said giving greater power to Ontario mayors might create a more divisive environment around council chambers. On the table, there is a proposal by the province to allow mayors the right to override council approval of bylaws that would hamper a set of provincial priorities to be set out in regulations. Again, some more quote. So, that wasn't the only thing he said, but he also said, I think there's a strong call by mayors across Ontario to better understand the province's plans and to give further details. I would think so too. That's what I was questioning. Yeah. Remember I was saying, okay, they're saying it's to do with housing, but they're also saying anything on our list of priorities we want mayors to kind of fast track.
Yeah, it's got to be explored.
Oh yeah. So Jerome also says, yeah, so it's not only for one worker's wages, it's for the entire workforce for that day, which does make, that is a bigger impact. 1 bucket pays for the entire workforce of that day. So anyways, yeah. this was the thing, right? So the province has other things too that they want to get passed, but they piggybacked on the idea that we need more housing for a reason to give the mayors more power. And I look at that as a possible, if you were to look at it, why wouldn't they just come out and say, here's the list of our priorities. These are the things we would like, along with housing, to be, enacted in municipalities. Other than that, it could be looked at as a Trojan horse. Comes in as the housing thing, but then, we also want you to, like I said yesterday, we want everyone in the city to wear yellow pajamas. That's what the province wants.
Have you seen Bananas, Woody Allen's Bananas?
No. I remember Bananas in pajamas.
Yeah. No, that's the Banana Republic gets taken over, and that's kind of the new guy comes in, and everyone's cheering him on, and they're just saying yeah to everything he says, and he says, and we're going to, the new national language will be Swedish.
Oh man!
And we're going to change our underwear 10 times a day, and you must wear your underwear on the outside so we can check.
Oh man! See, there you go. That's a really silly.
But the public is they keep cheering, and it's just like
eventually it gets less and less cheering as the things getting even more and more weird,
more ridiculous. Yeah,
that's right. But that's the thing. That's what I mean. You have to, again, we're tampering with something that's been set in place to protect us. You would think laws, like I was saying the other day, are there to protect us from us. That's why they're there. So if you start meddling with the foundational, makeup of our society and switch things around and give more people power than we're used to and whatever. And so you got to look at the implications of that. And that's what we're doing here. I think there's a strong call by mayors across Ontario to better understand the province's plans and give further details. And then we already read that. That's exactly what we're talking about. Bigger said, adding the province's proposal has evolved dramatically in recent days. It was initially proposed to affect only Toronto and Ottawa. So they only wanted to do it in Toronto and Ottawa. And then they basically just kind of surprised everyone and said, oh yeah, and in other cities too, we want to do this. See, that's the thing. I don't agree with that. The way of doing that. You know what I mean? You're trying to trick. You're doing if you're transparent, say we want to do these things. That was my whole beef with people that come from a communist ideology. They don't just come right out and say things. They kind of have to trick their way into things. And I don't understand that. Come right out and say you agree that government should have every say in everything and you shouldn't have any rights because you're dangerous having rights. And that's really the lay of the land of communistic ideology. You can't think for yourself. You need someone else who's smarter than you to think for you, and then society will be a lot smoother that way. End of story. That's the way that it works. So all of these things are little steps towards that. So if you look at that as being your end goal, you're giving politicians more and more and more power so that way they can think for you. They can decide for you. It's no longer where you get to decide and you have opinions or you have what you feel needs to be the case. It's someone's got to do it for you. So that's the end goal. So it's all these little things that lead to that. And this could be one. This is one that, if you're giving anyone in government more power, that's really what it's leading to. And I know Miles said the other day that's more like a dictatorship. But no, they're working together federally, provincially, and whatever. So it's not like a dictatorship in that way because federal wants provincial to follow, and then provincial wants the mayors to follow. So everyone's in what they call lockstep.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's kind of one of the criticisms of the system right now is that it's very systematically, it's like that line, the system isn't broken. It's built this way, and it's designed to basically just keep us locked in, and no piece can kind of move independently because everything else is there to box it in.
Exactly.
And I think probably one way or another, like at a local level, that's where it's got to start to, that's where things start to have to move. So that's why there's a glimmer of hope
That's
in
right.
this, that
Yeah.
the flip side of it is that it can actually give local democracy
For sure.
more power, more,
Yep. And Billy had the last word today. You got the last word.
Did I?
I don't know where our time went. It's 8:30. We're supposed to end 3 minutes ago.
All right, I'll take it.
But Julia here also says she views that the laws are not necessarily there to tell us what to do. They're there to keep the government at bay and kind of so that they can't, what they can and can't enforce. So anyways, great comment there. Everybody read that, what Julie just said. And we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow morning. Thanks, Billy. Stay
See
tuned
ya.
now on CKLU for Earshot Daily. We'll be back. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks for your comments. See ya. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.